Okay, so my video got cut off for some reason. So this is part two, and just a little bit of a rant and a discussion about my my maritime parking series that I'm doing. And I'm not going to do it for long term. I am not doing it to stress people out. I'm doing it to prove discrimination and to prove the scare tactics they use that are not lawful. And so where I ended the last video was saying that it is unconstitutional, it is unlawful, and just flat out ridiculous to think that someone, anyone, a citizen, right, can look in my vehicle and judge me and then call the police that I basically committed a crime, some sort of parking violation or whatever, and they're going to tow me. They threaten to take my home. Okay, so first of all, they have no right to look in my vehicle. Okay, so the officer, in a way, searched my vehicle with his eyes, right? And so there's Ninth Circuit rulings on that too, stemming from Seattle, and people, like, they had suspected this homeless guy of heroin and they searched his tent and it was deemed illegal. You have to have a warrant. So they can't say whether I live in my car or not. I know several women, two in particular, that live here in Port Townsend, and they come downtown and their car is packed with stuff, like absolutely packed, barely room for the driver's seat, and they live at a home. So they decided that I lived in the car through their inspection of my private property, of which they searched with their eyes without a warrant. They took the private person's beliefs, views, judgments, subjective perspectives over mine. Oh, right, they couldn't find me. Okay, so also, as I was saying in the last video, I don't have things hanging off my vehicle. Like, I don't have solar panels on the top. I don't have stuff all over my windows. I don't have anything broken. I don't have, I have a nicer vehicle. It's not as posh as most of these down here, but, and so they clearly discriminated only because they looked inside of my private property. So, their eyes just found it offensive. It's offensive. And these people, whoever called, is so freaking ignorant, right? If COVID taught anything, it's compassion, right? And it's for, after everything in the last year, there's a lot of homeless people. I mean, for the Great Awakening obviously did not happen to the person who called, because it is clearly discriminative, abusive, and I don't care who laughs at this. I'm going to put it on Port Townsend Homeless News, and I get laughs, I get whatever, but it doesn't matter to me. I'm sharing this story because it's the truth, and to give a voice to homeless people. There are a lot of people living in cars in Port Townsend year-round and everywhere across the United States, okay? If it is not illegal to park downtown and sleep in your car, there was absolutely no reason for them to use that as a reason to discriminate against me, okay? Any simple camera check from an officer, an investigator, a sergeant that was worth his salt in any way at all as a police officer could have seen that there were cars here before me and after me, okay? It was a clear prejudice because I live in my car. Also, something I thought of yesterday, and again, I don't care what you think of this. I'm surmising, I'm rambling. This is my page. If you don't like it, you know where to go, right? You know where the door is. I am a witness in a criminal case here in Port Townsend, right? I've already testified, okay? And I testify again in June of something that I witnessed down at the Maritime Center, okay? So, anybody can call and tamper with a witness, right? The city itself is the opposition in the case, right? So, and plus there's people with Center Valley Vet. I got a lot of enemies for standing up for the truth, for honor, morality, dignity, and law, okay? I'm on the right side of the moral compass on all of it. They're not. Okay, if you followed any of the Michael and Moses case, they're all on the wrong side of the moral compass. They're all on the wrong side of God, goddess, animal cruelty, mental health, homeless issues. They're all on the wrong side. Okay, I'm on the right side. So I have a lot of enemies that could just maliciously get my vehicle towed, like they steal a dog, and then make up all their crap about me, okay? So in a way, is it tampering with a witness? Possibly, right? I mean, who called? I'm still a witness in a criminal case here. This is things to think about, because I hear a lot of grievances of people that love Port Townsend that are just so sad and disappointed that the buskers, the whole hippified cool stuff about Port Townsend that always used to be, has been taken over by the posh, elite, permanent people who think they're all that, right? They don't like the looks of people living in cars, right? But that's what Port Townsend's about. Okay? Organics, music, living off the land, the beauty, the mountains. It's not about keeping an image at the Maritime Center so that people think we're posh, okay? It's about real people and real lives. And if the pandemic didn't teach you that, then the Great Spirit's going to teach you in another way. You're going to have a whole lot of dark night of the souls. I've had hundreds of them, okay? For you to understand what really matters in life. And the number one thing that matters, Port Townsend, is not little artsy-fartsy things, okay? It's every single person having a home. Everyone living indoors. Public showers, public restrooms, okay? Not $50,000 pieces of art. Not let's buy this and buy that, and let's pretend we don't have homeless, and let's pretend that everything's all clean and clear and whatever, okay? Don't go around looking in people's cars so you can call the police on them for a parking infraction. I know this. We used to report on corruption in Montana. It's so funny because sometimes people would call the cops and they would be the ones that would get in trouble. And then you had other people that would do something the cops didn't like. And so then next thing you know, they get a ticket for sound pollution or anything they can ticket him for just to harass him. But the fact that the cop said that there were signs I lived in the vehicle, but yet it's not illegal to live in the vehicle, it was completely irrelevant to even surmise. Let's see, does she live in it? Okay, well, that's a parking violation. If she didn't live in it, it wouldn't be a parking violation. Is it a parking violation or is it not a parking violation? Whether you live in a car or not seems to be that you clearly prejudiced me, okay? So, again, like I said in the other video, I'm not going to continue like all summer videoing down at the Maritime Center, and I don't want to video people that sleep in their cars. I'm going to video for a week, maybe 2 weeks, to show you the clear discrimination that there's plenty of people that park down at the Maritime Center. And they discriminate against me because they don't like the look of me, okay? Well, I don't like the look of you. I don't like the look of a lot of things that go on down here. They're not, up to my moral standard. But I don't call the police and go, oh my gosh, this car's been here for weeks because I don't like that they look like they've lived in the car, which lots of people travel through here and live in the car. Like I said, I've been homeless in Port Townsend 7 years, the first 2 years in hotels. So I know, the Palace, all the people that do at the Palace, all the people that clean, all the owners. When you stay at a hotel long term, get to know a lot of stuff about a lot of people and a lot of comings and goings. But out here, I've seen people that have been in the same spots, and on and off in different ways and kind of in the same circuit for months, and then sometimes years, and then they leave town. Some people park in the same spot for years. Of course, they leave on and off, but park in the same general area. So they're here, okay? So if you don't like the look in my car, don't look in my fucking car. Excuse my language, but what the fuck are you doing looking in my car and then going, they look like they live in there. I'm going to call the police. Okay, what can we get them on? Parking? No. Okay? Get your fucking big nose out of my car. Okay? I don't nose into your house. Okay? I have a right under the Homestead Act. This is my home. Even before that ruling, I have a constitutional right that this is my home, this is my private property, okay? Yeah, it's visible, so if you look on the way by, you look, okay? But visible signs that I live in the car, you had to get your nose all bent up and look on in there. What is she doing in there? It's none of your fucking business. Apparently the F word won't stop now. But I just cannot believe that anybody in the world, any private citizen, can call the Port Townsend police, make up whatever crap they want, and the Port Townsend police is like, okay, let's go down there. And then they look and they're like, well, the officer decided it looked like it had been lived in. Irrelevant, right? I'm pro se. I represent myself in legal cases. That is absolutely irrelevant. Did she break the law or not? Well, she broke the law if She broke the law because she was living in the car. If she wasn't living in the car, she wouldn't have broke the law. Wait a minute, it's not illegal to live in the car, so that's irrelevant. So did she break the law? No, but we thought maybe because there was signs she might have been staying there more than 24 hours. And so we gave her a warning, a big orange warning threatening to take my vehicle, of which I had to scrape off my frickin' car, right? Threatening to take my home, of which they cannot do. They could charge me out the wazoo if they wanted. But they can't take my car without a payment plan, okay? So it's just intimidation and scare tactic by the Port Townsend police. And believe me, 90% chance it's not the Port Townsend police. It might be this one. I don't know the guy who ticketed me. There is a couple of police who are part of the posh. But most of the Port Townsend police, they don't harass. They are not mean. They are not cruel. They do not go out of their way to harass the homeless. I've seen them standing around them when they're sleeping on the ground. They walk by, they drive by, they know where people sleep. They are good guys and good gals. No problem. Okay? It's when the nosy, prominent people in Fort Townsend who think they're all that call and complain, then the police have to do what they say because, they pay the police wages. Well, I know I've said this in other videos, but having my name counted in the census, I pay for their wages too. I pay local taxes. I pay to register my vehicle here. I pay out the frickin' wazoo for taxes on stuff in Amazon, right, to get in Jefferson County. I mean, they just tax us, right? And so why is this permanent person more important than me, okay? They don't have rights over me. And I don't care who rolls their eyes or who laughs or whatever. If you don't want to listen to my channel, I can show you the door, right? But I'm just kind of giving you a little heads up because the vehicles are still here tonight, and I'm going to do a video before dark right around them to show you again that days and days and days pass and those cars are there, but well, you see, they're either part of the Maritime Center or, well, they have dust and debris and bird poop, and it's clear that they've been here for days, okay? This one van up here, it's not a maritime, well, it might be a maritime van, but it's not marked. So boat person, whatever, but it's clearly been here for days. So it actually has some investigative visible signs with a thick coat of dust on the windshield. In other words, no one's drove it. And bird poop all over the back windshield and the side, okay? Those are the signs, the two top signs in Port Townsend that you've been there 24 hours. Or in this case, this car's been there, 3 days? People might go out on boat adventures or whatever, leave their vehicle down here. No problem. As long as there's not visible signs that you're living in the car. What about a catnap? Is a catnap? But anyway, so those are just a few thoughts I had just to let you know that Port Townsend's trying to pretend that there's something they're not, okay? The real people who live here are so amazing and nice and kind and sweet. And it's this weird prominent overlay of, I don't know, liberal, rich, whatever they call themselves. And I don't mean to make it political, but that's who's running it. And you saw, right, on Nextdoor, that David Faber, I knew it. He was just some political guy. I recognized the name. But he said just perverse, sick stuff. If you don't have that, I have a video of that thread. And now I know that he's the deputy mayor. I mean, it's like a sick little elite group that wants to push everybody out that's actually real normal human beings. You might not think I'm normal, but I'm a lot more normal than this fake image you're trying to portray of this, well, we're all posh down here in front of the Maritime Center. And I love the Maritime Center. Matter of fact, I don't know for sure that they called, because I've always given them a gold star for homeless, because I see people laying outside. I've seen people sit outside and just scream for hours. And the police will just come down and just kind of look at them and just let it happen, right? Because, what are you going to do? And so I've only seen great things down here. Some people shot off a gun one night down here. I didn't call the cops. No, I did not call the cops, and I did not go out there. Okay, so I waited to see what happened, right? And so I didn't really want people to know that I was in my vehicle. And then the car almost hit me, right? It backed into me really, really fast and then right at my window. And I was just prepared to die. I'm like, oh my God, or whatever. And then about 10 minutes later, the cops come down and they look all around, you know. Matter of fact, the night in question that Crystal was allegedly here for days or whatever, they had been here one of those nights down at the Maritime Center, and they were, I don't know if they were checking on a homeless guy that was sleeping on the ground or what they were doing, but then they left and then they spotlighted everything. So like they were looking for somebody. Who knows what that was about. So they do get called from random people. And I understand because the boats, even during Wooden Boat, when there was security, there was thieves down there. Okay, so people have stolen stuff. And I walk around sometimes, I walk out on the dock sometimes in the middle of the night because my back gets, stiff. I like to sometimes I wake up, my back hurts. And so I walk around. So sometimes I'm walking around at 2 and 3 in the morning. And so, people probably call and, oh my gosh, there's somebody out there in the middle of the night. Well, if that's illegal, we better post it. Do not walk in the middle of the night. So there's just a lot of things to just kind of just ramble about, but it's just basic decency. And still the same thing as with the Michael Allman case. They think that because they live in houses and they're all posh that they're better than the other people. They're not. And what Center Valley Animal Rescue and the city of Port Townsend did to Michael and Moses, if you don't know the story, reverendcrystalcox@gmail.com, is off the charts cruel. And at some point, I will prove illegal indiscrimination. It's hard now. I don't have access to my church, and I don't have, my computer and things like I did before. But I will... I'll still be making chronologies, and I'll still be testifying, and I'll still be sending in complaints against all these people. I see auctions all over for Center Valley Animal Rescue. I mean, I'm sure that they do a lot of good things, but this is so cruel, and from what I know of how hard it was to, I don't want to say keep Michael alive, but the fact that he lived through it, they don't give a shit. And so my fight here is the equality for people who live in houses and people who don't live in houses, okay? It's not really about me. It's about my spiritual work, and it's about justice. I am a Libra and all. And for those of you who want to know, a Leo rising. So, I'm formidable. But if you want to come for me, come for me. But expect me to post whatever you send me, and expect me to investigate you and report on you to the best of my ability. Until they, lock me up because they looked at my car and they went, you know what? She has something in her car that looks a little bit perverted. Illegal, perhaps. What is it? Don't know for sure. Just arrest her and we'll think of something later. Anyway, thanks for listening. Do you guys like my new hat? Aldridge. Uptown store. Get a little bit. They got, oh my gosh, they got such good stuff there. I got some good food today. They don't do soup on Sundays though. But I'm really glad that those guys, I think 2 brothers or whatever, took it over and it didn't go under. And anyway, if you're listening to this ramble, thank you. And if you're not listening to this ramble, well, you're not going to hear me say anything. So, sometimes I roll my eyes too. Anyway, Goddess bless you all. I love you. And, equality. Don't judge that I'm some certain something just because I live in a car and not a house, okay? It's just not true. Use your brain. Use your brain. Use your brain. God bless. Goddess bless.